All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well today. My name is Ross Wade, and I'm a Senior Associate Director of Career Services here at Elon. I'm based in the School of Communications, but I also work with alumni engagement on professional development programs and initiatives like this. And I'm very excited to be presenting, although a bit nervous, to be honest, this workshop on LinkedIn. And I saw that many of you, when you signed up, you gave kind of your level of experience from beginner to advanced. And so I'm going to try to hit all of those levels as we go through this workshop. And I want you to know that there's a chat down here that if you have any questions that you would like to share, I can answer them as best I can throughout the program. So just please feel free to send them my way. And also, I know that some of you might be having problems with audio just because of the various technology reasons, but I'm going to gracefully put my mouse over this right here, hopefully signaling to those that cannot hear me that they can call in with this number and access code. But again, welcome. Thank you so much. I do want to go over a few technical housekeeping things before we get started, and just kind of disclosures before we get started. So this is one of my first webinars. So this is an experiment. So I appreciate all of you being my guinea pigs. Thank you so much. This session is being recorded. So if you're having tech issues or if you have to leave early or whatever, we can get this to you via email. Secondly, I'm spreading most of the session, or I'm going to do most of the session just clicking through and showing you with my own LinkedIn profile how everything works. I feel like doing it on static PowerPoint slides isn't going to be very helpful. So I just wanted to let you know that. This may look weird, but I'm actually sharing my screen with all of you. So that's why you can see the chat and you can see that I'm sharing my screen, etc. And just for all of you that are unfamiliar with WebEx, if you do want to chat, you just go up to the top, you hover, and then click chat. Or some of you might have Q&A, which is fine too. So I just wanted to show you that. And then finally, I wanted to preface this. So this is going to be the LinkedIn basic version. So this isn't premium. The version that I'm going to be showing today is just the freebie one. I was going through my LinkedIn profile earlier today, and I have the free version, but because I use it so much with students, it said that they, that they might cut me off just because if you do have basic, there is a number of limited searches that you can do, but it's hundreds of searches, so the normal person never gets that far, but since I do this maybe 10 times a day, I rack them up, and LinkedIn thinks I'm a recruiter because of that. So, but I did want to preface that I'm going to be showing you the free version. So that's the end of my housekeeping notes. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about LinkedIn because I know that some of you have a very basic understanding of it, which is fine. So LinkedIn is a social media site for professional networking and development. Recruiters use LinkedIn to search for talent for their organizations and also screen job applicants. So when you apply somewhere and just into resume, they're probably going to check you out on LinkedIn as well. Recruiters look for talent by searching keywords. So be sure to pepper key industry terms into your profile so it will show up in searches. And we'll talk more about this as we talk about the content that goes in a profile. But yeah, it's a big word search bank. So we want to make sure that you're speaking in the language of your industry and that those keyword terms are in there. All right. So I wanted to give you a little bit more information about LinkedIn. I think I joined maybe 11 years ago. And as of yesterday, it has over 500 million members. 260 million LinkedIn users are logging in each month. 40% of monthly active users use LinkedIn every day. And that was a lot higher, honestly, than I thought it would be, but 40% every day. 61 million users are senior level influencers, and 40 million are in decision-making positions. It's the most used social media platform amongst Fortune 500 companies. And of the 2 billion millennials globally, 87 million of them are on LinkedIn. And of those 87 million, 11 million are in decision-making positions. And I see this a lot. I've been at Elon for about 10 years now, and I have alumni that send me positions at their various organizations, and I always ask, well, who's the hiring manager? And they say, Ross, it's me. And I forget that they're 10 years out in their job. So I think that's a really key statistic. And then finally, I just had to put this in here. Microsoft paid $26.2 billion for LinkedIn in 2016. That is a lot of money. And it just goes to show that that it's just going to be growing and growing. I think LinkedIn's goal is to have 3 billion users over the course of the next 5 or 10 years or something like that. So that's the overview of LinkedIn. Next, I want to tell you a little bit about how LinkedIn works. Excuse me. And the way that I explain it to my students is LinkedIn is like Facebook for professionals. So on Facebook, the people that you're directly connected with, they're called your friends. So if someone is your friend and they're directly connected to you, they have access to your full profile and all of your contact information. So on LinkedIn, this is called a first-degree contact. So you see that Mosi here is a first degree. So he would be like a friend of mine on Facebook. And you see that since he's my first degree, if I go to his contact info and click that, it shows me more than just his profile. And so it gives me his email address. Sometimes it'll give social media or portfolio sites as well. And just to keep Mosi's contact information out, I blurred it. But if someone's a first degree, then you have access to all of their contact information. Now, LinkedIn takes it a second step. So in addition to your first degree contacts, you also have access to their first degree contacts. And those people would be called your second degree contacts. So someone that you know that knows someone else is a second degree. And it goes so on to third degrees and then further out. And of course, what this does is it creates a really vast network of people across the world, hundreds of millions of people in different industries and different roles sharing information and networking. And if we look here at Lauren March, we can see that she's a second degree. And if we go to see contact info, because she's only a second degree, it's only going to give me her profile. That's her LinkedIn profile, which I already have. So it doesn't give me as much information as I would like. So my goal is to get first degree contacts. Now, just to expand a little bit more on second degree contacts, again, LinkedIn's showing me that she's a second degree. And then down here, it shows me all of our mutual connections. So these are people that Lauren knows directly and that I know directly. So these people have my email address and my contact information, as well as all of Lauren's contact information. So that's kind of the quick and dirty of what's going on and how LinkedIn works with the connections. And again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. Another thing that I think it's really important to think about is, what is your LinkedIn philosophy? So there are some people like me, and of course I work in the career services business. I want to connect with as many people as possible. So if I see a recruiter or someone that works at a great organization and they send me an invite, I'm probably going to accept it. If it's an Elon alum or student, I'm definitely going to accept it. So I'm pretty open with who I accept. Now, there are other people that say, you know what, if I wouldn't recognize them on the street, then I'm not going to connect with them. And I think that's a great idea as well. But think about that as you're starting this, because some people will just accept everyone, and then some people have a more closed type of network. Both are fine. Just think what's more important, quality or quantity. That's something that I wanted to throw out there to you. All right, I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to hop straight to my LinkedIn profile. And what I'm going to start off talking about first is just how to create a strong LinkedIn profile. And what I'll do is I'm just going to walk through my profile. So if you ever want to edit your profile, what you always want to do is go up to the right top where it has your picture and then me. And as you click on that, you can view profile. And so this is what you look like to the outside world. So as you can see, it's got my pictures, it's got my current title, it's got where I've worked, it's got my activities. As you can see, I've been posting lots of jobs for our Elon alumni. It's got where I've worked. So all this really great stuff. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a word bank. So we want to make sure that we're peppering in industry terms into your profile. And that starts at the top from your headline up here. But let's start at the very, very top, which would be your pictures. Now, LinkedIn is just going to give you, I think it's a blue colored basic static image in the background if you don't have a photo. And most people use that, and that's fine. I'm a very amateur photographer, and so I put one of my photos of my hometown, Durham, North Carolina, in the background. But you can do what you want to. That's not as important as this one over here. So this is the face that you're showing the world. And so we want to think about your industry and also think about this has to be a professional photo. And if I go back to my PowerPoint here, I've got a couple of examples that I think work well. And this might be a familiar face to some of you. But if you look at these, all of these have lighting. They're kind of shoulder up, and they represent a certain industry vibe. So for the two on each end, they're more of a professional, not corporate necessarily, but something that you might use if you're working in business or if you're working in education, if you're working in research, etc. In the middle, we'll see this person, and she actually is a old alum that is, I think, doing film now. And so she chose a picture that is a little bit more relaxed and creative, but it's still really professional. It's well lit, but it gives a little bit more information visually about what her character is and what her industry might be like. So it's really important to think about the picture that you're going to use. I've had so many students put pictures of themselves like they were a groomsman at a wedding and they use that, or they're at a bar and they use that. None of that's a good idea. Ask a friend that takes pretty good pictures to grab your phone and take a decent headshot. It doesn't take long and it's easy to do. So that's a few guidelines to think about as you're doing your headshot. And I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to, in each section, you'll see that there's a pencil. And if you click on the pencil, it's going to give you an opportunity to edit all the information inside that section. So I was talking about pictures earlier. I can click on this pencil, and I can upload a new image. I can click on this pencil, and I can upload a new image. Here, you see I can customize all of my information, including my headline. And I think that headlines are something that people overlook sometimes because what LinkedIn is going to do automatically is just plug in there where you're working right now. And if you're thinking of transitioning careers or changing careers altogether, we want to start thinking about that professional identity and, of course, keywords and the branding effect that you want for that headline and the key terms in your profile to have. So lots of professionals, if they don't want to use their current job, they might type in something like a title like art director or mechanical engineer or accountant or physical therapist. And that way, when I go to their profile and I look at their headline, I know exactly who they are and what they do. It's very simple. So think about that as a great way to brand yourself. As we scroll down, it's just going to ask for basic information. And there's also an opportunity to do a summary. Now, summaries, I've seen some really good ones and some really bad ones. Think about it logically. If you're not a good writer and if your grammar and spelling aren't too good, consider not doing one or doing a very short one. If you are a good writer, definitely put something in there. But again, think of this as a word bank. So, you just want to focus on, these are the skills I have, here's the value that I bring to a company, and these are specific skills that I have. And it can be, everything from Photoshop to SPSS to Microsoft PowerPoint, etc. So it's hard skills. So again, just to reframe that a little bit, think of your summary as a place to put two things. One, a couple of sentences about who you are and how you bring value. And then underneath that, just type in specialties or skills and then a colon, and then just list out those skills one by one. Again, because as recruiters are looking for talent, those are the types of things that they're going to plop in their search. But again, don't feel like you have to put a summary. I feel like a lot of people get hung up on that. And if you don't feel confident about it, then just don't do one. Another really great feature about LinkedIn is that you can upload media. And so if you work in visual arts or even research, or if you're a writer and write manuscripts, or you're a technical writer, you can upload your work to your profile. And so this could be a video, it could be an infographic, it could be a white paper, it could be a lot of different things, but it gives your profile an opportunity to be more of a portfolio. That's a way that LinkedIn can be better than, I think, a resume, because it can serve in that portfolio type of capacity. And so to do that, you just click upload, and it's going to ask what you want to put on your site, or you can just add a link, and it might be a blog post that you wrote, and then you're good to go. And again, especially if you have a portfolio or something like that, in your summary, this would be a great place to add that. And again, it's just upload if it's a document or an image, and then link if it's a video to YouTube or a blog post that you've done or something like that. So that's an overview of the very tip-top part of your profile. And again, if anyone has any questions, let me see if I can get back to the chat and see if anything's going on. All right. I'm going to take that everyone's doing A-okay. So I'm going to click out of this. Are you sure you want to discard the changes? Discard. All right, another thing that I think people can do and rarely do is you can customize your URL. And so to do that, you go to the top. Again, if you go to Me and View Profile, this is essentially edit mode. You're able to go up here and edit that profile. So if you go to the top right over here, again, we're looking for a little pencil. You can put your first, middle, and last name, or first and last name. And this is an important feature, because what LinkedIn automatically does is it just gives you this really long URL. And what you want to do is customize it, because if it's short and it's sweet and it's customized with your name, it can be used in your resume header, it can be used in your email signature. It just makes it much easier to share. So I do recommend that you customize that. And of course, like I said, I did mine 11 years ago, so I was lucky enough to get my first and last name. But if you have a name that's already been taken, it's fine to add a number or something like that. But again, I think that's a really important thing that should be done. All right. So I'm going to go back home, and again, just to show you how to get back in edit mode, you go under your picture and then View Profile. As we scroll down a little bit, it gives you information. So here, it's given me intermediate strength just because I don't have a summary. And it wants a summary in there. And actually, now that I think about it, after a while, LinkedIn will send you a note saying, hey, this could be some possible verbiage for your summary. So if you wanted to use that, that's fine as well. They send me stuff like that all the time, but I just would rather have people look at my content than a summary. Activity, it shows things that I've been posting. So as you can see, I've been posting some great opportunities for Elon alumni in New York and other places, San Francisco. And so this is just basic activity. If we scroll down a little bit more, it's going to automatically put in your profile experience. And this is basically where you've worked. If you've done a really meaningful internship over the past 5 or 10 years, I think that's fine to put in there. Excuse me, but it's essentially where you copy and paste your resume information. Sorry, I'm going to take a little sip of water. And again, we're going to look for the pencil. That's going to allow us to edit. And then we just add all of our information. Start date, if you're currently there. There can be a brief description. I've been in this role since January, so I'm still, working on the bullets, but if I wanted to add some, I would just copy and paste them from my resume and just put them in here. So it's very simple to do. And as I showed you in the top summary section or overview section, for each experience, you can upload a link. So again, if you've done a video or wrote, like a script, something like that, all of that could be added to each experience. I'm going to get out of here, discard, and say that if you've just gotten a new job, you click on this plus button, and then it'll give you an opportunity to share all of your information. I want to scroll back up to the top because a lot of folks say, well, I do a lot of service work, or I'm a mechanical engineer and I've got patents, or I've been published, and where on my profile can I add all of that information? So what we can do, if we go to the top, under your name and your title information, you can do Add Profile Section. And down here, it gives you a bunch of different things that you can add. So I think it's automatically going to have work experience and education in there. But if it's not, just click on the Add button, and it's going to put it in your profile, and then you can go in and fill it out. Licenses and certifications, this can be very important if you're in STEM fields or other things like that. And so you can put in the credentials and, websites, all of this type of stuff. And again, since this is a word bank, and I know I'm saying this over and over again, it's important to get that information in there so you'll pop up in searches. Let me go back up. Again, it's in your top section here under Add Profile section. Volunteer experience. So here, if I go there, I can say, well, I do service at the Red Cross. I head up their volunteer PR team. And here's information. Again, I can copy and post bullets in there. So again, if you're trying to reframe yourself or, transition your job, saying that if you've been, say that if you're in PR and you've done mostly social media, but now you're looking more into more account management, these are places where you can start showing those skills and reframing yourself a little bit. So these sections can be very, very helpful. Other things, again, if we go under Add Profile section, under Accomplishments, here's where you can put your patents, projects that you've worked on at work, languages. I know that many of you probably speak more than just English. Other organizations that you're part of. So if you're on a board of some kind or something like that for like a local organization or arts and cultural organization, this can be a place where you can add that. And so really, as you're looking through this, go in and make sure that you get all of the different sections that you'll need, because again, it's a word bank and it's a branding format. So we want to be framing you for the industry that you're seeking to get into or to grow into. And so we want to speak in their language. So definitely take advantage of all of these different profile sections so that they can get all your experiences and skills. You'll see up here there's a skills section. And I'll show you that because I've got that added. So what I'll do is I'll just scroll on down here. So this is all my information. So these are skills and endorsements. And what you can do, it's very simple. Again, just always look for the pencil. You click on the pencil, and you can, it shows what your top skills are. And so these are mine. It's got industry knowledge. Oh, and WordPress should have a capital P. And if I wanted to add a skill, I just click on that, and this can be any skill. They can be soft skills, or as we in the biz now are calling power skills. So it could be public speaking, presentations, or it could be, something very specific like Photoshop, InDesign, SPSS, etc. So really think about these and put them in there, because what people do is as they log into their home page, sometimes it'll say, hey, do you want to endorse Ross for career counseling or for resume writing? And they click yes, and you start to build endorsements. And I think that could be valuable because it not only shows that you have skills, but it shows you that it shows viewers that people believe in you, um, and do agree that you do have that skill, and then they can see who that person is as well, which I think is very helpful. So again, that's the skills and endorsements page or section. And if you go to the top, again, I know I'm being a little bit redundant, profile, and then add skills. Another section which I think is good to add is recommendations. And you can ask for them, but it's more important to give them. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later because it's a really fantastic networking opportunity for you. And as you can see, I've got Tom Mullen, Elon alum, who's kicking butt out in New York City, that wrote me a very kind note years ago. So that is the quick and dirty of how to put together a strong basic profile, including, thinking about it's a word bank, making sure that you are using media, and being strategic about how you're framing your professional self, so that when someone goes to your profile, it's very easy to see from the start, oh, this person is an educator, or this person does research, or this person is an actuary. So that's the quick and dirty on that. And again, I know I've given a lot of information, but it is recorded, so you can always review the video afterwards to see all the steps that I've gone through. All right, so now I'm going to get to my favorite part, and that is the networking piece and the self-marketing piece. So I'm going to go to my homepage, and as I mentioned earlier, it's like Facebook, or it's like really any social media platform where you have your homepage and there's a news feed. So it's showing me this is what all the people who I'm connected to, my first degrees, are doing. And also, if a first degree comments or likes something, it's going to show me that too. And so it's going to show me second degrees plus more as well. And the types of things that people post, it's related to work or professional development. So if your organization has developed a brand new technology, that's a great thing to post about. If you see that an ad agency where you like to work has got a brand new client, that's a great place to say, congratulations to Ogilvy for getting this great organization as a client. Say that if you write your own content, if you're a blogger, this is a great place to share that. So we want to think about professional stuff. This is not the place to post about, eating organic lemons or which political candidate is making you very angry at the moment. That's more Facebook and Twitter. Here, we like to keep it nice and professional. And you can see that all that's being, done through all of these down here, through all of these posts down here. So here's Chris Hegg. So I used to work with him a long time ago when he was back in North Carolina at UNC Asheville. And so he's posted something praising, thanks so much for coming in and talking to my students. Of course, like on Facebook, I can like it, I can comment on it, and I can share it. Now, not only is this being nice, but it's really also networking. I'm popping up on someone's radar. So Chris is going to see that I liked his comment, but also, just like I showed you before, all of my second degrees will see that as well because I liked his, and so all his first degrees will get that notification in their newsfeed just like I have. So all of that to say, I'm reaching more than just my first degree crew. I'm also reaching my second degree crew. And that's networking. It's popping up on someone's radar. I can't tell you how many times I've seen I'll like for a second degree, and then I go check them out, and I'm like, wow, this person could be really helpful for the work that I do. I'm going to contact them. So again, this really simple thing can bring in a lot of benefit. A lot of people say, well, Ross, how often should I be on LinkedIn? I feel like I only check it once a week or maybe once a month. I do think it's important to create a routine for LinkedIn, and it doesn't have to be extensive. And I say that because we want to show that you're being consistent and that you're engaged, but also to say that LinkedIn is always changing stuff. So you might log on one day and one button that was there yesterday is no longer there, or they've added a new feature, or they've taken away a new feature. So I think creating a schedule can be really, really helpful just for your networking and your self-marketing, but also make sure you know what LinkedIn has changed. And so that can be as easy from, in my office, we have a staff meeting every Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning. So I get there early. And so for the 10 minutes before staff meeting, I post a couple of things. I like a couple of things, and it's just showing that I have activity. I can also see if anyone's messaged me, etc. So if it's once a week or once a day, it only takes about 5 or 10 minutes. But as I showed you in the statistics earlier, 40% of people are on this every day. And just think of all the influencers and Fortune 500 leaders and etc. So I do think it could be very beneficial to set up a strategy like that. So again, it's just your basic kind of news feed. And I check out new posts. Again, it's always updating all the time. It's also great too because not only can you follow people, but you can follow organizations. So if you wanted to follow HBO, or if you wanted to follow, the Red Cross, you can search for those companies, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, and then follow them. So anytime they have any opportunities or there's news, it pops up in your news feed. Now I want to go up to the top just to show you, we've already talked about me, but if we go under me, we've talked about view profile, but I also want to make you aware of your settings and privacy. So if I go there, you can make your profile as visible or invisible as you want to be. So some people say, I only want my first degrees to be able to see my information. And so you can make that change for whatever preference that you have. Some folks don't know that on Basic, if you look at someone else's profile, they can see that you've checked them out. And so you can change that setting in your profile as well so that doesn't happen. Now, I don't mind if people see that I've checked them out because sometimes they'll reach out and say, hey, I saw that you checked me out, let's connect. Or maybe I'll see that someone, in San Francisco that's a recruiter randomly clicked on my profile, and I'm like, wow, that's a great contact. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if I can connect with them. But again, if we go back to LinkedIn and we go under your picture and then me, it's settings and privacy. And so you can make it as private or as open as you would like. And I see we got a note down here. So when looking for jobs, do you advise to stay away from easy apply postings? Yeah, that's a really great question, Jacqueline. And to be honest, I'm not that familiar with those. One thing that I've learned about aggregate types of things, and that's what LinkedIn's profile is it's pulling from a bunch of different places, is that it's normally just going to lead you back to the HR page. Or sometimes it'll send you somewhere else. So I advise to always, apply through LinkedIn if you want to, but just to be safe, if it's a job that you're really interested in, I would actually go to the company's website if LinkedIn doesn't take you there, and then apply through the website. Now, if you see that the job has a recruiter from that organization attached to it and it's easy applied, then I would feel pretty confident doing it then. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. All right. So we've talked about me, or you really. Next up here we have notifications. And this just shows you who's liking all your stuff. So my friend Carla liked something that I posted earlier on. Taylor Stuck, who helped organize this really great event, liked some job openings that I posted for alumni. It just shows you who's liking the content that you're posting. Up here, there's messaging, just like on Facebook. So I get a good number of messages. So Catherine, she's an alum that's in Los Angeles and works at Facebook, and she's like, hey, we have something open in New York. What do I do? And so that's really great for me as an advisor, because now I can get that opportunity to the right person. So if you have any opportunities, alums, please feel free to send them to me, and then I can work with Taylor and then the SPDC to get those to the right people. Jobs, someone just asked about jobs. This can be very helpful. So, and this could be for jobs or internships, but I know that all of you would be searching for jobs. So, say for example, if I were looking, well, market research looks great. So I'm going to type in market research, and let's say I want to do New York City. It's going to pull up some really great opportunities. And you'll see there's an easy apply. And it also gives you really great other information too. So it tells you that at Verizon, I have 4 contacts that work there. So these could be people that could advocate for me or refer me as I apply. It just gives me all of these great opportunities here. And if I wanted to make this a little bit more specific, I can add filters. And so I can say that I'm looking for, something. So I've got New York, I've got market research. I definitely just want to see full-time jobs, filter out all the other stuff. I'm looking more for kind of like a mid-senior level. Apply, and then it pulls all of those up. And again, if you go to the job, it shows you I have 4 contacts there and 2 alumni from Elon work there. And so if I click there, it takes me to these people. So one's a first degree. So again, that means that I have access to his contact information. And Harrison here is a second degree, which means I don't. But we'll talk about how to connect with him in a second. But it's great to know, there are Elon alumni at these different organizations that could assist you with the application process, or just starting to get more information about the company or the company culture. So again, that's jobs. And you can also do, here, let me do this again. So I did market research in Greater New York. You can do a job alert. So if I were to click right here, that means anytime something that comes in that matches my criteria, it's going to say, hey, Ross, check this out. So I think that's helpful too. I know that my students love that. As we continue across up here, these are people that want to connect. And so for Eliza Williams here, let's check her out. Connector Senior Executives to Business Research. All right, and I see that she is an Elon alum. So yes, Eliza, I will connect with you. So I'm going to accept that. And one thing that we'll talk about later on when I talk about how to connect is the impact that a note can have if you add that to your invitation. And then finally, there's just your home page up here. And so it brings me back to home and all the updated posts. All right, so let's talk about the networking piece now. And again, this is basic, but you can really do some great research on finding people and places. And I think the best place to start is starting at Elon. So if I go into the general search and type in Elon University, I'm now connected. Thank you. And I want to make sure I've got Elon University, the school, which is right here. And you'll see that there's the Center for Leadership, there's Campus Rec, there's the School of Comm and the School of Business, but we just want Elon University, the school. And what it's going to do is every education institution or other nonprofit business, etc., startup is going to have a company or an organizational profile. And so there you can see that it has all the latest updates of what the organization's been doing. And a lot of you supported Elon Day. Thank you very much. We did a great job, or I should say advancement and alumni engagement did a great job. I can see about the organization. I can see jobs. But the most exciting piece for me is alumni. So if I go on alumni, it pulls up all of the folks that are Elon. Now, remember, when you set up a profile, you're putting in your school information and your job information and your geographic information, which means we can sort and find people by all of those criteria. So there are over 30,000 people, mostly alumni. Of course, there's some students in there too that are on LinkedIn. And I can search by where they live. I can search by where they work. I can search by what they do, even what they studied, what they're skilled at, how I'm connected, etc. So a lot of really, really great information. So say that if I was interested in going to the Washington, D.C. area, as we can see, it's added this to the search, and our number's gone down from 30,000 to about 2,500. And if I scroll down a little bit more, it shows me who all of these people are. And again, all of these are Elon people. But I can narrow it down even more. So I could say, well, I wonder where these people are working. House of Representatives, Georgetown, Marriott. But let's see what they're doing. So I'm going to skip over. So yeah, I see a lot of people doing business development, media and comm. Now, see, since I work in the School of Comm, I'm going to be a little bit biased, and I'm going to click on media and comm. And again, that's going to update our search. It brings us down to about 200. Again, Elon people, media and comm in the DC area. And we scroll down, and it gives us a list of people that are doing what we're looking for. And as you can see, it's a lot of different people. And it shows you if they're a first degree. And if they're a first degree, you can send them a message. Or, as I showed you earlier for Liz, if I go to her profile, I can go to see contact info, and I can email her. So that's an even better way, I think, to talk to people, just because people spend a lot more time checking out what's on their email than what's on their LinkedIn profile. So as you can see, I've got quite a few first degrees here. If I wanted to go back and upgrade this search a little bit more, and it seems like, are things frozen here for me? Nope. It seems like it is not allowing me. Here, let me clear all again, because what I think might happen is they've said, Ross, you searched too much and you're on the free basic version, so we're cutting you off, buddy. And I think that might be what they have done. But if that's the case, don't worry, I got a backup. All right, I think that might be the case. And so what I'm going to do is the Student Professional Development Center, we created a profile as well. Now this one is premium, and we have this for our office just because we do so many searches, and we don't want it to get timed out like our personal ones do. So I'm going to switch over to this so I can show you these great features. So again, I'm going to search under Elon University, the school. It pulls it up. Again, I want alumni. Again, there's the 30,000. I'll go back to DC. I'll click over to next, and I'm going to go back to good old media and communication. So it's reorganized them again. And again, it's showing us all the first degrees. So again, you can either message them through the system or you can email them directly. And what I want to do is sort again by degree, because I want to show you a trick for second degrees. So again, it's the same search, but now I'm only looking at second-degree contacts. So here's Jeffrey Cook here. So he's a producer and reporter at ABC News. As I can see, he's a second-degree contact. And so what I can do is connect with him. So instead of saying message, it says connect. So if I were to connect with him, I always want to add a note. And the note is limited to maybe 300 characters or something like that. So we want to keep it really, oh yeah, it's 300, it says right there. So we want to keep it brief, but we try to make it as personal as possible so it doesn't seem like some automated thing. So, you could type something in there like, hi, Mr. Cook or Jeffrey. I've been doing some LinkedIn research. I'm trying to learn more about the news industry. I saw your profile and would love to connect. I hope you're well and all is well in DC. So something really, simple and friendly like that, because the goal isn't necessarily at this point to get a response from them. It's just to get them to say, yes, let's connect. And then once they are your first degree, as we talked about earlier, then you have access to their email. And so you can email them for some networking or just, general information gathering. So that's the way to connect to another person through LinkedIn. So again, it's just connect, you add your friendly note, and then send it. There's another way which I think works a little bit better. So what I'm going to do again, Jeffrey's a second degree. I'm going to go to his profile. Again, he's a second degree. So if I go to his contact info, I just got Twitter and I've got his LinkedIn URL. So what I'm going to do is scroll down and it shows me these are 164 people that are connected to me and to Jeffrey. So I'm going to see who these people are. All right, Joe Bruno. So he's my first degree and he's also Jeffrey's first degree. So again, that means that since they're connected directly, since they are first degree contacts, it means Joe has Jeffrey's email address. So what I would do is instead of going through the system, I would email Joe directly and say, hey Joe, I hope things are going well. I see that you're connected to Jeffrey Cook at ABC in DC. I'd love to connect with him for some networking. If you feel comfortable, please email him, copy me on the email, introduce me, and I'll follow up and schedule a time to chat. So again, it's since you both are first degrees to this person, going through email. So asking your mutual first degree, connect me with this person via email, copy me on the email so that I now have that email myself. And so I can follow up directly and ask for an informational meeting or just schedule a coffee or something like that. And again, this strategy works really well because, again, people check their email much more frequently than they do LinkedIn. So that is a really helpful, I think, networking strategy to bypass going through the system on LinkedIn. And I want to come down here. Okay, great. So how do you determine which keywords are connected with your account that pull in the search that you've been demonstrating? So I'm not sure if I understand this, Lindsay, but here's what I do. So as you're looking at job descriptions or as you're going to websites of organizations where you would love to work, you're going to see some consistent skills and some consistent terminology that is probably going to be really important for you to pepper in your profile. And so, for public relations, it could be social media, it could be media lists, all these different types of terms that are associated with your industry. And again, looking at job descriptions will give you that. And then also looking at other people's profiles that are successful in that field will give you a good idea of what to put in your own profile as well. So thank you for that. So again, I'm just going to go back home. And again, we're on the SPDC page now. It's not mine. And again, if you wanted to get to Elon people, just go to the general search, Elon, and then alumni. And again, it's got my old search up here. but you can search until your heart's content. Now, if you put a keyword in here like branding, every profile that has the word branding and it's going to pop up. So the keyword search isn't as successful as I would like it to be. So someone could put I hate branding, and then they're going to pop up in that search because it's a word that's in their profile. So that's one thing to consider as well. Another thing that I want to show you is, and this will be the final thing, is you can also do this for companies. So say that if you were interested in Lockheed Martin. So I'm going to go to the company. Again, it pulls up the company, gives me information, gives me people. Over 100,000 employees, and again, I can search by the same criteria, including where they studied. So if I wanted to come up here and type Elon, there's 15, but say that if I want to talk to Mackenzie, pull her up, she's a first degree, and that's how I can do some great initial networking. And so that's really helpful. Also in searches, if you were to type in something like graphic design, you'll see that you can sort by people, jobs, content, and more. And more could be a group or a school or a company. So graphic design, I can sort by people. And it's going to show me all the graphic design people that are connected to me, which is a lot. That's a lot of results right there. So what I can do is I can filter this down and say, okay, I need to sort this by, I'd love to work at Ogilvy. So let's see if that brings anyone up. Great, and it does. So here's one. That's a second degree. Here's a third degree. Here's a first degree. And so you can sort, again, by people. Again, under the term graphic design, you can sort by people. You can sort by jobs. So it's bringing up all those jobs. You can sort by companies. And to me, this is the most deflating feature here. So back in the day on LinkedIn, I could sort all this by, city, state, country, and now it just gives you a list. And as you can see, there's no filters, even for the premium version. So that's something that I wish they would allow you to do. But again, just type in, environ. I'll just type in environmental because my brain's starting to fry a little bit. So it brings up all these great organizations, again, but I want to see people. And it gives me folks that are doing what I want to do. And again, if they're a first degree, I can contact them directly. If they're a second degree, you can connect the way that I showed you earlier on, either by going through LinkedIn or by going through a mutual first degree contact. So the final thing, so I've talked about self-marketing here a bit. If we go back to home, and I think I'm going to try to do this on my own profile here, which is still thinking. If I go home, now this is the beauty of a recommendation. So, and I think this can be a really great networking tool. So as I showed you earlier, when someone writes a recommendation, it pops up on your profile. So if we scroll down to the bottom of mine, it's got Tom's and it's got Michelle's, etc. So that means if you write someone a recommendation, you permanently become a part of their profile. So that's one good thing right there. It's also, and I talk about this with my students all the time, if you've lost connection with someone, a past supervisor or mentor or someone, and you're trying to reconnect so that you can get to some great networking, writing a recommendation is a really great thing to do. Number one, because it reminds them of who you are, you're saying nice things about them, and then you're popping up permanently on their LinkedIn profile. So if we scroll all the way up and say that if I want to write a recommendation for someone, let me show you how to do that. So if I go to Dave Brown, and we'll see I can message him, again, because he's a first degree, so I can message him through the system, but I want to go more, and then I could recommend. And so it's going to ask you how do you know Dave, and in what way did you work together, et cetera. But you can write a really nice recommendation for Dave, and that's going to appear on his profile. So that's one thing that I talk with folks a lot about. Is it's a great way to be of service and to be grateful, but it's also networking. And so those are some of the strategies that I use as I'm working with my students and my alumni. Now, I dropped a lot of information on all of you, and I'm going to wrap things up right now. So we've got about 5 minutes, and I want for you, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat box. Also, if you have any ideas of how this presentation could have been better, or maybe future presentations on topics that you would like to know, please email Taylor so that we can make sure that we're continuing to provide you with, high quality products, because we know that for, all of you, you've been in the work world, you've been in the real world for a long time, and so your professional development needs are different and more advanced than our students, and so we really want to be able to provide you with those types of experiences if it's a webinar or a podcast or something like that. So are there any additional questions? Well, it's like tumbleweeds in here. All right. So what I'm going to do is wish you all a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar. Thanks again to Alumni Engagement for working with the Student Professional Development Center to do this. And again, if you have any suggestions on future webinars, or if there's any way that you feel like this presentation could have been improved upon, maybe give more information or less information, please let us know. Thanks, Lindsay Baker. All right, y'all. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of it.